So this is a hard question, and I'm going to use a schematic. So let's say we have n hats, and we're told that 60% of the hats from the shipment, which means 0.6 n, were sold at a selling price that was 50% greater than the cost. So if the cost was $C, then the selling price is C plus 0.5 C. And in this case, you will see the gross profit is just 0.5 C, because that's the difference between selling price and the cost. So here, the gross profit from the sale of just 60% of these hats would be number times the profit in dollars on each one. So that becomes 0.3 NC, and this is in dollars. Now the remaining shipment, we have 0.4 N, and they tell us that they reduce the selling price by 66 2/3%, which is really reducing it by 2/3. And sold 70% of the remaining hats. So this again splits. You have the 70% section, which was sold at a selling price that was reduced by 2/3. So if the selling price was S, you reduce it by 2/3 S, which means you sell it for 1/3 of the selling price. So here, selling price is, so what makes this question hard is, with these variables, you have to be clear what's happening. So that's the selling price. Cost is still C. And we know that the selling price here, you'll note, is 1.5 C. So here it's going to be 1/3 of 1.5 C or 0.5 C. In this case, the gross profit would be selling price minus the cost, and it will actually be a loss. So it's going to be minus 0.5 C. And I have to multiply it by this number, which is 0.28 N, to give me the gross profit. I'll retain the negative sign. And this is going to be minus 0.14 NC in dollars. Now we also have this category of hats that were not sold. Let me just see, what am I doing now? Not 0.7, 0.3 times 0.4 N, because that's 70%, remaining is 30%. And then here, the selling price is 0, because you didn't sell it. And so your gross profit, or I should say gross loss, is minus C dollars. So this quantity is 0.12 N times C. This is your loss in dollars. So if you add those two, you would get minus 0.26 NC dollars. And if we add it to that, which is the profit from that 60% batch, then these two give you 0.04 NC. And they're saying this gross profit as a percent of the store's cost. The store's cost would be number of hats times the cost of each one, multiplied by 100. You'll notice NC drops out. This becomes 4%. Answer is choice B. So yeah, this is a hard question. And maybe there's another way to do it that's cleaner. To be honest, this is how I approached it when I took the exam. And likely if this shows up again, this will be my approach. This is something I'm comfortable with, setting it up this way. I've done it with other questions. And so you have to decide what approach works under exam conditions, because it is quite stressful there. And so you can't be experimenting with new approaches. So just keep that in mind. Perhaps you can use numbers here and maybe 100. Maybe that's cleaner. But just stick with the approach or method that works for you the best. So to summarize, the answer is B.